Hey, you guys. Guess what? We're here. We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. We are open. As you can tell by today's title, it's the uncle is crashing out, y'all. Um, it's a story. So, okay, let's go back because remember, I like to keep my promise of non-sequential, stuff. So we are not in sequence as always. We're out of sequence. This is not even the memoirs of Sherlock. We're gonna go all the way back. We're gonna go all the way back to the adventure of Sherlock. It was well, I left two of them out. One because I felt it was kind of boring and I got to figure out how to make it like appetizing. And two, the other one, it was because it was like super controversial, but I'm in the mood today. As the children say, Scott, have you heard that line? I'm in the mood today.
Yeah.
I know. So this one is from the Adventures of Sherlock. So we're going all the way back to the beginning. So this is the case of the five orange pips. Pretty controversial one, especially because of what is going on nowadays. So, anyway, we're all here. You're here. Um, Scott's here. We got Sherlock. We got Watson. We got me. We got the gang, honey. And so we're going to do. The uncle is crashing out, y'all. So here we go. Scott, do you know why the uncle's crashing out?
I don't know.
Do you even know what crashing out is?
Well, I mean, I know what it means in some crashing out on drugs or crashing out on someone's couch.
This kind of crashing out means you are just losing it because you're about to be discovered. You're like the jig is up. So you're like, oh my God. You like panicking. This kind of crashing out is panicking.
Okay.
That's how the kids call panic. Hysteria, if you will. Scott don't care. So, okay. So let's get started. So we start off with Watson talking about it. There is gale force winds. Shout out to Bob's Burger and Gale. Okay, there are heavy winds in the gales. It's just like tornado, speed winds, I guess. And all of a sudden, him and Sherlock hear somebody on the door. And so Sherlock is like, I'm gonna deduce that that's one of the landlady's dudes coming over. He probably a hobosexual. He needs some place to stay during these gale force winds. I don't think this about us because don't nobody really be coming out. Like there ain't no case this important that is that important for somebody to be out during a hurricane in London in the 1800s. It wasn't a hurricane.
Oh, no.
I just made that up.
Oh, wow.
They were just saying how strong the winds were, though. And so, Sherlock Holmes was wrong for like one of the first times ever. So a guy comes in and his name is John Openshaw. Openshaw. We're going to call him Johnny O because that's just easier to remember. So Johnny O comes in and he's like, Sherlock, look, I wouldn't have came out here if it wasn't important, especially out here during this hurricane, this once in a lifetime hurricane that's in London in the 1800s that I just made up. I wouldn't have came out for this. But my life is so crazy right now that I don't even know what's going on. And I need you to like read the tea leaves for me and tell me like, where the hell is my life headed? Am I even going to see tomorrow? It's serious, Scott.
Wow.
I know. So, Sherlock's he's like, oh my God, sit down. Like, sit down, honey. Relax your feet. Tell me what got your life just so messed up right now. And so Johnny O is like, well, he was like, it starts off with my dad. His name is Joseph Openshaw.
Yo-yo.
Well, I call him Daddy O. Because that's Johnny O's daddy. So Daddy O. Daddy O.
There you go.
Yes. Do I sound like the 1950s Daddy O? He's a cat Daddy O.
Sure.
Yeah, period. So, he's like, there, my grandfather had two sons. We got Joseph Openshaw, that aka Daddy O. We got Elias Openshaw, aka Uncle E. And they grew up together. Now he was like, they were both successful. My daddy O owned a factory. It was a small factory, but he made a lot of money. And then when it sold to a bigger business, he made enough to like live off of. So my daddy was straight. Daddy O was straight. He was like, my uncle Elias took a little bit of a different route. My uncle went to the new world, which is America. Like, it's old to us, but it was new to them then. He went to the new world, and he was a Florida farmer or whatever. He owned a plantation over there. And then, the Civil War broke out, so he became a Confederate soldier, and he was successful in that. Then he went back to his farm, but then all of a sudden he just decided to come back. He said it was because, now, okay, let's have this discussion, okay? Trigger warning, because we got a lot going on right now. I don't know what the hell is going on right now, but a lot is going on. This is the 1800s. This is like the Civil War, okay? During this time, people of color were not appreciated, okay? They had just like stepped away from plantations and such. So the reason why his Uncle E decided he wanted to come back to the UK was because he said pretty much people of color were getting too many laws. He said the Northern carpetbagger politicians were forcing, too many people of color down their throat. So he said, I'm coming back. This is too much. Why I gotta respect these people? Why do I have to do that? Me, Uncle E. So, he went on and left and came on back to the UK. But coming from Johnny O, his uncle became real reclusive, honey. He was in the room, he was hiding. He was like, But my man did love, I guess this is going to be medicine of the gods, brandy. In the 1800s, everybody was getting toe up off some brandy, honey. This is what these people were doing, okay? So Uncle E decided he wanted to just drink brandy, smoke his pipe, and just relax in the house. He was chilling, honey. He said he had been working on the railroad all the long day, and he wanted to relax now. So, because he really, really was into this relaxation type situation, he was like, hey, can y'all send over Johnny O? He asked, he asked Daddy O, could you send over Johnny O? Because I don't have a son. You probably don't want to raise them. So send them on over and I'm going to teach him how to run a household. So off Johnny O went to Uncle E's house. And Uncle E, he said Uncle E loved him in his own way, the way he knew how to, which is Uncle E love, I guess. I don't know. And he said he did let him run the household. So Uncle E ain't had to talk to them servants, honey. Uncle E was in that room chilling, sipping his brandy, honey. Probably staggering out, yelling at a couple of people and staggering back in, okay? But he was probably as healthy as a horse because all the doctors were giving people brandy anytime they passed out. So Uncle E wasn't passing out, which is good. So, time went on, things were great until that one day. And it wasn't that one sweet day. It was just one day. So one day, Uncle E got some mail. He got some mail, which was rare because Uncle E didn't talk to nobody, honey. He was all up in the blinds, just looking at people, drinking his brandy, like, I ain't playing with y'all today. One day he gets a letter from like Australia. And so so Johnny O opens the letter. And in the letter is 5 orange seeds. They call them pips. 5 orange seeds. And on the letter, it says JJJ, but go one letter up. Okay. We're going to call them special K. Okay. Okay. It said that. 3 Ks and a twist. So Special K. And so Uncle Uncle E started tripping. He like, oh my God, they know where I am. Oh, dang, yeah, huh. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. So he was like, hey, Johnny O, go get a lawyer. And so Johnny O gonna run and get a lawyer, and he watches his uncle sign over his house, all his possessions, everything to Daddy O, to Daddy O. And he was like, look, you were faithful in making sure I didn't have to talk to none of these servants and his butler, because I don't even like people like that. So eventually when your daddy go, you gonna get this house. But let me tell you something about this house. Let me tell you something. If you don't want this inheritance from me, give it to your worst enemy, because it come with a curse. Now, I don't know who. If you telling me to get a house of my enemy, why are you giving it to me is the question.
Yeah.
But whatever. This is the 1800s. The man was drinking a lot of brandy. He was super healthy. He wasn't passing out. He probably wasn't going to sleep. So I don't know. I don't know why he was saying all this. But then from there, he became very reclusive. He was annoyed. He was paranoid, honey. He was real reclusive. And when he did come out, the only time he came out was to run around in the garden with this thing, talking about, if y'all want some, come get some. I ain't scared of y'all. I run this. Y'all ain't gonna have me up in here. You ain't little Bo Peep, and I ain't your sheep. I ain't scared of y'all. He would just be yelling out to the ether with his pew pew. And then he would, I guess, stagger his little drunk self back on in the house and go lay down, because, sir, who was that for? Who was it for, Scott?
I don't know.
Whatever. So I guess it must have been one time that Uncle E went his little cell phone out there talking about, who wants some? Don't start none, won't be none. And he didn't come back in because they found him floating face down in 2 feet of water. And let me tell you how Scotland Yard ruled it. They said he unalived himself. And I was like, we just gonna make up any old. We just want to hurry up and close this case so we can move on, honey. Clearly. Because how you unalive yourself in 2 feet of water?
Get drunk and fall face down.
This is why sometimes we not gonna invite Scott. Sometimes.
Okay.
So Uncle E is gone, honey. He out the picture. And so Daddy-O inherits the house that Uncle E told, Johnny O, if he don't want to, give it to his worst enemy. So, they living in the house. Life is good. Things are good. They do. Oh, I forgot. Here we go. Here we out of sequence. Here we go out of sequence. I got too excited. Now, when Uncle E got that letter with the 5 orange seeds and the Special K, he freaked out, of course, but he was like, go get a lawyer. And when Johnny O came back, he noticed that Uncle E was like ripping off paper and then throwing it in the fire, and there was this box that said Special K on it. And he was like, okay, whatever. He's burning documents and whatnot. This happened before he unalived himself in 2 feet of water. Says allegedly Scotland Yard. So, they in the house, they got to go through all the stuff. This is where Daddy O and Johnny O find that box, and they look inside, and it's just like one sheet, and it just lists 3 people, and it says, taken care of, returned, all this old crazy stuff, and they didn't know what it was. So they was like, whatever, just put that box back and let's move on. So life is good, day by day, step by step, step by step, day by day, things are going. So about 2 years pass, and all of a sudden, here's an envelope.
What could be in there?
It's for Daddy-O. It's Daddy-O. Okay? Daddy-O time. And so he opens it, boom, 5 orange seeds fall out. And it's from Special K. Okay, they back and better than ever, I guess. And they said, put the paperwork by the sundial. Let's pause right here. Can we bring back sundials? Do you know anybody that has a sundial, Scott?
Can't say that I do.
We need to bring those back. I know most people probably don't even know what one is. It's how you would tell time in ancient time. Like the thing would be like this, and per where the shadow was is how you told the time.
Well, I mean, I guess it did. But...
Have you seen anybody in your lifetime with a sundial?
No, but I mean in Sherlock Holmes' time.
That's ancient time.
That's ancient, huh?
Mm-hmm. Was your granddaddy alive during Sherlock Holmes' time?
No. All right. We'll call it ancient.
Nobody I knew has seen it. So, or not olden times, I guess. Olden times. Does that make you feel better?
It does.
Okay. Ancient times. So anyway, so they said leave the thing leave the paperwork by the sundial. Okay, or it didn't even say or else, but Johnny O was like or else. So Johnny O had this dread feeling. He like Daddy O. He's like Daddy O. You need to call the police. Go to Scotland Yard. You need to do something because the last time this thing happened, Uncle E unalived himself, kind of, sort of, maybe, allegedly. I don't think he unalived himself.
Crazy stuff like that.
Some crazy stuff. But Daddy-O was like, let me tell you something. I ain't got no pew pew like Uncle, and I ain't crashing out like Uncle did in the garden. But I do know this is a joke. Okay. I am too wealthy to care. Okay. I am going to chill out and mind me some business.
Okay.
And that was all well and good till one day Daddy-O decided to go visit his friend, and oh my gosh, I don't know what this is, but he fell off. Daddy-O got found. He rolled down a chalk hill. A chalk hill. They found him on the bottom of a chalk hill, and they said, "Oh, it was an accident."
Okay.
That's how they ruled it. Again, Scotland Yard still was like, "I'm not doing paperwork right now. We got other things to do besides paperwork and this investigation." And so Johnny O, is left. He's the last one. So he inherits the house that his uncle said, give to your enemy if you don't want it. I would have gave it to my enemy, but he said, Johnny O was like, I figured that all this thing was put to bed and the only person they was looking for was my uncle, but they just happened to target my daddy too. So I'm safe. I'm fine. I inherited a house.
That makes sense.
Total sense. So 2 years go by, everything's fine. And all of a sudden there's a letter. And it's for Johnny O. And he opens it up, and it's the 5 orange pips yet again, and a note from Special K. And they're like, hey, why don't you go ahead and put them papers by the sundial? And so he said, oh no. And so he hightailed it right on to Sherlock Holmes through a hurricane. He was like, oh, but before that, he told Scotland Yard, and they was like, that's a joke. That's a coincidence. Like, sir, you didn't see them misdiagnose both cases of your uncle and your daddy, and you still went over there thinking that you were gonna get a different result. You know what they say? The definition of insanity is. So they laughed him out and told him, go home and go to bed. And so he went to Sherlock Holmes' house. And Sherlock was like, "Oh, snap, honey, you going through it. This is not good." Sherlock was like, "This ain't no good. This terrible." He said, "This is what you gonna do. You gonna go right on back home. You gonna take whatever little papers that was left from your uncle burning it, and you gonna put that right on the sundial. And you gonna also put a note on said sundial saying that my uncle burnt these papers before y'all got him. Please leave me alone." And he was like, "You gonna do that as soon before you even, sir, unlock the door and go straight to the little special K box and do exactly what I said. Your life depends on it." And so, Johnny O was like, "Cool. I'll holla at me tomorrow. I'm gonna do what you said." And so Sherlock was like, "Cool, hurry up and go get it done. Get her done." And so off Johnny O went. Could you hand me the book over there? I forgot the book. It's behind you underneath that box thing. Okay, I'm gonna read y'all one little part from it. Because let me tell you how he describes the special K peoples, the Pete's. Okay, whoa. Let me get to it. Sorry, y'all. I'm usually prepared. Today, I am not. Okay, Scott, what do you think so far while I'm looking for this?
Well, I think Johnny O's in some danger.
Johnny O should have gave that to his friend. Okay? and not a good friend. Okay, so I found it. So Sherlock was like, wait, sorry. Well, basically, let me tell y'all what I'm trying to find here. Because Sherlock go in his encyclopedia, honey. And he finds the definition of it. And I'm going to tell y'all what it used to be. Because in these things, oh, here it is. Kindly hand me down the letter K of the American Encyclopedia, which stands upon the shelf beside you. Thank you. Now, let us consider the situation and see what may be deduced from it. So, okay, wait. Let me find the part where usually I'm better and I'm more on top of this. Nonetheless, okay. We ain't even gonna get the definition today because I don't even feel like sitting here trying to find it. I should have next time I'll do better. So anyway, so he basically, because these are Brits, they don't really know what is going on over in America with like the different subcultures. So he basically goes in the American Encyclopedia, looks up what Special K is. He knew what it was. Watson wasn't sure, and neither was Johnny O. So basically, it's a group of people that feel some kind of way about the government bringing itself together and abolishing and being nice to color people or people of color. And they basically harass people that don't see things their way, harass people of color, so on and so forth. And they disbanded the same year that them papers that was in that special K box was in that. Okay. So Sherlock is like, we dealing with some crazy people here. We dealing with a underground organization, honey. So hopefully this young man does what needs to be done because they don't mind taking some people out to make sure they tracks are covered, they dots are they I's are dotted and they T's are crossed. Okay. So the next morning, Watson gets up. Holmes is already up, and he's like, "Hey, I already had breakfast. I'm getting ready to pack it up and get on over there and check on Johnny O and make sure he good to go. So get your breakfast and then kind of meet me over there." Well, before Watson even orders the breakfast, before he even gets around to it, he grabbed his newspaper and front page. What do you think was on the front page, Scott? What y'all think was on the front page?
Special K.
Nah. Johnny O is unalive.
Oh.
Poor Johnny O. R.I.P. Johnny O. That poor young man was just trying to live his life and make it work.
Didn't work.
It did not work. He was at the wrong place in the wrong time with the wrong family. So what they ruled his death as was an accident. Because they ain't trying to do the investigation. They ain't trying to write up that paperwork. So basically what happened was he was trying to catch a boat, and he must have just been walking around with his hands over his eyes on the dock, and he just fell off the dock. He fell off the dock. He was just like, oh my God, let me catch this boat. I'm in such a hurry. I'm covering my eyes. It happens to anybody, to the best of us. And he fell off the dock and he drowned. Maybe he was trying to be a recluse. Who knows? So, you know, Sherlock was pissed. Sherlock is like, see, this right here. This right here. He didn't clap, but he should have. This right here. This right here gonna make me lose my mind up in here. And so what did Sherlock do? He sat down and he started thinking. And he was sitting there for like an hour. Then he jumped up. He was like, Watson, get your breakfast. Don't worry about nothing. I'm about to get out here in these streets because I'm avenging this young man. Because how the hell dare they? How the hell dare they, Scott? Do you feel the dramatic part?
Oh, yeah.
Is your heart palpitating?
It is.
I do that. So, you know, Sherlock leaves and he don't come back all day. Watson just sitting there, I guess, still reading the same newspaper because he ain't say he did much. So Sherlock comes late at night back home. He comes in, he hungry, he tearing up bread and eating it. So Watson like, what are you okay? What's going on? And Sherlock was like, I figured it out. Oh, did I figured it out. I talked to everybody at the dock. I got me some boat schedules. I know who went in and who went out and on what days and on what boat. And I figured it out. He was like, yeah. And he was like, let me tell you something. And I got Scotland Yard together. Because what are you, like, are y'all even trying to investigate? Just give me the investigation, clearly. So he was like, pretty much, I'm about to send this note to this person so they can have the same fear that he put that young man, the uncle, and daddy-o through. I'm going to take these 5 orange pits, I'm going to put them in a thing, and I'm going to put SH wants to talk to whatever the dude's name was. And he sent the letter. And he was like, I want them to be in panic. He was like, let me tell you what this is. He was like, yeah, it's Special K. He was like, what happened was when Uncle E left, you know, when he left Special K group, he stole some diary notes from them because he wanted to use it as collateral just in case they came at him. But what he didn't know was they coming at you whether or not you know something, got something on it, it don't matter. And they just gonna take you right on out because that's the kind of organization they are. And so they took him out, but because they are how they are, they taking anybody out that may tell their secret. So they had to take Daddy-o out, and they had to take Johnny-o out too. They had to just make sure the whole thing was gone. But he was like, to hell with that. You're not gonna take out a whole lineage for what one person did. Not on my watch. Y'all need to get it together. I'm on the side of justice. And so, you know, Sherlock was pissed, but he wasn't pissed for long because the boat was called the Lone Star. It sank. And they like a Lone Star emblem washed up, you know, on some beach somewhere. And they was like, well, I hope it wasn't Scotland Yard that did the investigation, because then that means they just sailed off free. But they said basically the boat got caught up in a storm and it sank, and on there was the culprits. And that was that on that about that. So that is the case of the 5 orange pips. The same people that's running amok here right now today was running amok back then too. Just so y'all know that, honey, ain't nothing new under that sun there. Now, Scott, what did you learn? Excuse me.
Yeah, you always gotta be careful because you past can always come back on you.
Period. I learned that if people give you something, but they give you a warning with it, I feel like horror movies have this. Like Chucky, all them weird movies where they be like, oh, yeah, you can have this, but you know, it might have something fantastic or give it to your enemy or something like that. Don't be taking it. Just give it away. It ain't worth it. Some stuff ain't worth it. All money ain't good money. He should have dumped that house like a bad habit, honey. I would have did exactly what Uncle E said and gave it to my worst enemy. Ain't no way. What did y'all learn? If you learned anything. So with that, that's all we got. But we do got one more thing. One more. I don't want y'all to see my dirty fridge. So you know what? Okay, this is how I associate this. You know how like we're the Scooby Doo kind of detective agency. I like to say a pup named Scooby Doo detective agency. You gotta have a Scooby snack, honey. All this detective work, all this brain power we putting in here, we gotta try some snacks. So for today's snack or drink, because all this thinking got me thirsty. This is not a paid advertisement, by the way. We just like weird, funky stuff. I got an inner fat girl. Today we're gonna try baking soda with maple syrup. There's this cute little novelty candy store. I clearly I don't do bottles well. I got it. It only took like 4 or 5 tries. Okay, we're gonna try this and see if it makes any sense.
Let's go to the other side of Mars.
You gotta go to the other side of Mars because we're going to Mars, baby. You, me, Daddy-O, and Johnny-O, and Scotty-O. Oh. Oh no. It smells like maple syrup. Oh. Scott's making like a face.
It's interesting smell.
Oh no. Ew. It's carbonated maple syrup with bacon. It's literally carbonated maple syrup with bacon. Mm-mm. Oh, and then it has a lingering maple syrup taste. That's what I get for picking the maple syrup one. They had one with, what was the other one they had? It was like maple syrup, and I think they had like a chicken and waffles one. It was all kinds. I was like, oh my, oh me, oh my. Okay, well, if you one of them people, and there's something for everybody, honey. If you are one of them people that really loves the taste of maple syrup, and Scott usually likes maple. I'm usually the one who don't like them kind of flavors, and he's still chugging on it. If you like maple syrup a real lot with like a little bit of bacon taste, but a lot of maple syrup, like literally, it tastes like I ate maple syrup. Go and get this soda. Go to like a novelty candy store and get it. Or if you want to get it like for as a joke, like people that love bacon, stuff like that. That's when I used to get these for people that like are like, I love bacon. Here's baking soda, baby. Have fun. So anyway, with that, did you have anything else, Scott?
No.
Give some suggestions of books. Well, we still got a lot of Sherlock, but if there are other suggestions, and don't say Flowers in the Attic because I'm on it, honey. We got to get that in there, honey, because them people were running amok. And them children gonna be damaged anyway. So with that, from wherever we are to wherever you are, peace, love, and happiness, and baking soda with maple syrup and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time.